Dope Discussions Podcast. Dope discussions, gay to Erica, woke discussions. Mob ties, how they rock and think they both was cousins. Gifting you with their words so you might know you something. Just go and look for them live, they do it every Sunday. Every Sunday.
And we gon' bring you that dope.
And we gon' bring you that dope. It's gay to beat it, baby. Man, state to state, baby, coast to coast. Like the fire, baby, spark to Joe.
And we gon' bring you that dope.
Come talk with Erica, man, talk with G. And all you gotta do is talk with me.
And we gon' bring you that dope. And we gon' bring you that dope. And we gon' bring you that dope. And we gon' bring you that dope.
Good evening, everybody. Hey, welcome back to another episode of Dope Discussions Live. Happy New Year, happy 2022. This is our very first episode of the year. So excited to be back, but I ain't gonna lie, I did enjoy those 2 weeks off. It's been so long since we just took a Sunday off from doing the show. As much as we love the show, it felt good to just have those 2 Sundays off because my big thing is, my big motto has always been Sunday is my lazy day to just do nothing or whatever I feel like doing. Happy New Year. Welcome on in the show, y'all. I see Jennifer Pasima. Welcome to the show. And we got Masby30. Welcome to the show. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. If you are new to the channel or if you are a returning viewer, please go ahead and like this video so that we can get more exposure in the algorithm and more people will be joining us as we have this conversation tonight with our special guest. But before we get our special guest out here, I just want to ask everybody, how are y'all looking forward to the new year? Are you excited? Did you make any New Year's resolutions? Have you already fallen off of those resolutions already? I don't make them no more. I don't make resolutions no more. I always say if I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing at the end of the year, I never have to say new year, new me. I just say new year, same me, new growth. That's my motto. I'm going to keep growing. And, so I think that will inspire me and others to not just go hard and heavy in the beginning of the year and then fall off somewhere down the line and then feel like you got to start all over again in the new year. Just keep it going. And if you fall off, there's always a new day. There's always another 24 hours to start over again. You don't have to wait for a whole new year to come around. and chase your goals and do what you want to do in your life. So we have a great special guest. As y'all can see, we're missing our co-host. He is backstage. He's getting himself ready. He's actually at the Atlanta Falcons and the Saints game. He has something exciting today. He actually interviewed the mayor, the new mayor of Atlanta. And so he's getting himself prepared to join us, from his car. But the Saints won. So I'm happy about that. Who that? Who that? Who that said they're gonna beat them Saints? And when he get in here, he gonna really act a fool. But our guest backstage, Miss Larissa Bates, she was actually introduced to the show by Gator. He has been, following her and admiring her work. And then when I started following her and start taking a look at the work that she does, I'm so excited I started asking questions backstage, and I was like, wait, hold up. I got to save this for the show so the people can also hear the answer to the questions that I have. I was just so excited to get into it. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and bring out our special guest, Miss Larissa Bates. Hey, how you doing?
Hello, Erica. How you
Welcome
doing?
to the show, beautiful lady.
Thank you. Thank you for Happy New Year. As we were, talking earlier, like how long do we say it?
Yes.
But I always like to say it at least until January 31st, or for people that I have not seen. And of course, with everything going on with lockdowns and pandemics and all that, it's really good to at least have some FaceTime.
Exactly. So how are you feeling about 2022? You're excited about what's come?
Oh my goodness. I have to say that my favorite holiday is actually New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
And that gives me the opportunity. I know I love it when you say that, it is a new year, but the same you.
Yeah.
I love that. But I spend that time actually reflecting
Mhm.
on the year, that the previous year, and what I have in store for the new year. And I always write down my goals
Yeah.
for the new year. But this year I decided to do what is called a scripting party, which is basically, you script out your life. You script out, the next, I don't know, next month, next year, but just writing out everything that I anticipate happening throughout
Yeah.
the year. So I get really, really excited. So I'm like a kid in a candy store, and a lot of people know, but I'm really excited about what's in store for
Yeah, I'm
2020.
looking forward to it. I am so excited. Um, I know we've been in a pandemic for the last 2 years, but I think every year we get that hope that maybe this year, it will start to taper off and we would get back to what we considered normal life. But I really believe that this is the new normal. And if you
Yeah.
haven't already made adjustments in in the way you move and in how you think, then you might be upset to find out that it's not going to go back to what it was before this.
Yeah, I agree. I think that, one of the things, like for me, even during the downtime, I decided that, you have to make a choice. So every day that you have an opportunity to wake up and see a new fresh day is a
Mhm.
do-over.
Yes.
So when I know a lot of people feel very down and out, but I know that, what I love about dope discussions, and especially tonight talking about, mental health, right?
Yes.
And
Yes.
what we need to do to have that me time, whatever that looks like for you, to be
Mhm.
able to, absorb everything and sort of decide on what your sanctuary is. And so I love when you talk about on Sundays and how that is your lazy day.
Yeah.
But, for me, it's like, I'm so busy during the week, and just the weekends, I try to at least limit a lot of the activities to basically to regroup,
Yeah.
and to build that source up again, right? So I think that's what's so is so important. Whatever that looks like, you got to basically, take a breath and to breathe and meditate. And I love to take my naps, right? So they're always like, what are you doing? I'm like, my Saturdays and Sundays, if I can get in a nap, even if they say that, I think I read something about even if it's a minimum of like 20 minutes, it really
Yeah.
does energize. So
Yeah.
I just think, take a day, whatever that day is, just say I'm not going to do anything, but veg out, watch TV, and then just to regroup and get ready for, the week.
Yes. And as you were speaking about that, it's I haven't always been this way my whole life. I've always felt like I had to be on the go constantly, constantly. And if I did take a break for myself or just took a day to do nothing, I always had some type of guilt that you could have
Mhm.
been doing something more productive with that time. But now I
Mhm.
understand that that is productive.
Yep.
Taking that time to do nothing is part of being productive.
Love that. Love that.
Yes.
I have a friend of mine who told me that he's also a writer. So on my Instagram I do something called, I have my little series. It's called Doing the Most. So it's
Okay.
literally following people who are just, I mean, it's everything from outrageousness to being super duper funny to just this breadth of talent. And I just, I'm up in the middle of the night, and I always say that I'm up with the IG streets, right? Like going to
Yeah.
see, what do I want to post? What moves me? And I thought that was something that I wanted to do during the pandemic. That's how it started. So it's almost been 2 years where I literally go through and I just post a couple of posts a day, but
Hmm.
it's really starts the day so that whoever is watching, maybe it's to give them a chuckle, maybe it gives them a laugh, maybe it gives them something to think about. But that's, for me, that's a way to, one, give back, but also to just bring out the emotion. So I do that, I pretty much try to do that every day, to find something that's unique or something that just really moves me, and it gets my day going. So it might be a song that I hadn't heard in a really, really long time. And I'm like, yep, that's it. And so it just helps me to rev up my energy, and hopefully that, I've spread it to, the people that follow me. And I'm always getting comments. And now it's sort of funny. People are actually sending to me in my DM saying, this is annoying, add this to your Doing the Most, posts. And so I look through them, and, but it's, to me, that's a lot of fun, and just sort of decompresses. And
That's beautiful. I love that. So, what I want to start off with is I just want you to take your time and kind of introduce yourself to the viewers. Tell them, about your background, what you do, and then we're going to talk about Bernice Jenkins and how you got started with that, the inspiration behind that. And I want you to kind of tell people, what led up to it, and then we're going to talk about how they can go and get their hands on this book.
awesome. Wow. So how far do you want me to go back, Erica? Because I can go
I
way
mean,
back.
I got time. I got time.
Oh
So,
man, don't get me started. Don't get me started. So, my name is, Larissa Bates, and I am originally from a very, very small town. Shout out to Brookneal, Virginia, which is located it's central Virginia. It's literally, if you look at on the map, and this looks like a little triangle, we're literally smack dead in the middle of 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 the state. So I'm originally a farm girl. Grew up on a farm. Yeah,
wow.
yeah, and I'm one of four children, and so shout out to my brothers and my sister,
Yeah.
Hausen Junior, Horace, and Lisa. And when I went to finish up school, I went to the University of Virginia, where I have a great community. I think it's really important to always have this great community of people and all walks of life. And I think about so many years. I won't necessarily give you my age, but I've been around a while. But I have these amazing friends, and so when I graduated from school, I moved to New York. And I was always wanted to be a writer. And
Okay.
so, and I decided the path that I took. So I pretty much, went around a little bit, but pretty much ended up back at Showtime, networks where I was actually, looking at screenings of movies and series and short films, and I've just loved it. Like I've always loved entertainment, and I knew that,
Okay.
from early on that that's what I really wanted to do. So having a dual track where I had the being an executive and also being, the creative, and the creative side of me pretty much helped to keep me balanced
Okay.
during as I was building my career. And so as years went on, that I shifted and moved over to BT Networks, where I'm responsible for acquiring content for the
Wow.
network, as well as producing movies for the network. So if you guys are interested in some really good original content, then definitely check out like some of the movies that we've done. Especially, we've just completed our Christmas around the Christmas movies, so that
Okay.
was exciting. So during this time, we talked about, what really moves me is the fact that not only was I doing that, I just wanted to, have all of this energy and all these different ideas. So one of my favorite characters I came up with, Bonita, Renee Jenkins, and she
Okay.
is a so she is a hairstylist turned secret agent.
I love it.
Yeah. So, the first book, was launched. Actually, it was I self-published it about 8 or 9 years ago.
Hmm.
But unfortunately, being the executive, won out. So,
Okay.
I was able to get it out for a bit, and it was fun. And then a friend of mine actually read the book and said, "Wait a minute, I found it on Amazon. Is this you?" And I said, "Yeah, it's me." So he read it and he said, "Wait a minute." As he's starting to think about this, he goes, "You're a writer's writer. Like you actually can write." And I said,
Wow.
"Yeah, yeah, I can write." So, we, end up, he pushed me to pitch it to a major distributor, and they absolutely loved it. And they end up, during the pandemic, we launched it. The first book, it was relaunched in October of 2020.
Yeah.
And then I worked throughout most of 21, and we just launched the second book, Bonita Renee Jenkins 2, Boxing Rings and Cages.
Yeah.
Before,
Well, I want to
uh,
show everybody while we're talking about it. I've got a visual for everybody to be able to see exactly what the books look like. So
yeah,
when you go to Amazon or even Walmart,
yes, ma'am, or
yeah,
Target, or uh,
Target,
you made it when you were at Walmart and Target. So,
exactly.
so I'm really excited. But yeah, that's books 1 and 2. So, it's just that, she's just, young. She's, real sassy, real spicy. I like to call her my spicy, you know, young
Yeah,
sister who really, like, she gets herself in some trouble, but, she's got a heart of gold, and she cares about her family, and she
yeah,
cares about wanting to help people. And when she finds herself, she gets herself in some trouble, and then she has to figure out, like, she ends up either having to go to jail or work for a secret organization.
okay.
But there's always strings attached to it. But, she didn't want to go to jail, so, she had to give up her life with her family.
Yeah.
And then she started solving crimes, so she's trying to take down one bad guy at a time. So, yeah.
And she started out as a hairstylist, right?
Yes, she started off as a hairstylist, and
Wow.
and during that time, which I love about is that she is um, someone that, she's a third-degree black belt in
Uh-huh.
jujitsu. She's in school. She wants to be one of those, the CSI. So she always had that background of doing that. So this just basically, it moved her, into a completely different realm, in a different environment.
Yeah.
But she excels, and so but she's learning. And so I remember when I was talking to some of the people in the book club, and they were one of the book readers. She was like, "Wow, she's so like." She's so immature, and I don't understand like why she's acting this way. I said, yeah, but she got thrown into this. She got thrown into this world.
Yeah.
I don't know that many 25-year-olds or 24-year-olds that would be able to just be adults. I mean, we know now the people that are in their 30s, we still call them kids.
Exactly.
So she's learning. She's learning how to be able to maneuver through this new world that she has.
I love
So
that. Well, I want to read the back of the first book. I took a screenshot of it so I can kind of read it to everybody. You kind of get a synopsis of what the story is about. So it says, growing up in do or die Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn, Bonita Renee Jenkins has everything going for her: a great job, loving family, loads of friends, and the hope of one day becoming a crime scene investigator. However, things change when she unknowingly crosses paths with Miguel Perkins, a hot secret agent working for a clandestine agency created to throw the book at the most untouchable of bad guys. He is hell bent on recruiting Bonita to infiltrate the life of an ex gangbanger who has built his music empire on corruption. When Bonita is set up for a crime she didn't commit, Perkins gives her a choice: go to jail or come work for him. She knows she must give up her old life to keep the ones she loves safe. With comeback training and a full fledged makeover, this former hairstylist turned secret agent plans to take down the bad guys one thug at a time. You go, Bonita.
that's right, Bonita. That's right. She is down with the program. She is trying to, she can't stand the bad guys, and she will fight to the end.
I love it. That is amazing. Do you think you ever do like a screen play or like a maybe a show with Bonita?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I mean,
Okay.
I've actually, to tell you the truth, I'm already started working on the series. A lot of people, telling me that, we need to get to make a movie out of it. And I was like,
Okay.
listen, I'm down with the program. But I think that she is so full of life. And I
Hmm.
think that she would definitely, like, whoever plays the lead, like I always ask people, like, who do you think would play Bonita? Like who's the right, but it's so interesting as I'm going through this process where, a lot of people, they gravitate to some of the other characters in the book, whether it's, her, sensei, Leroy, who actually trains her, or it's her, her grandmother, Grace, or if it's
Okay.
her brother, or if it's the people, it's Miguel, because, I mean, not only is action, but there's some romance that's there,
Yeah.
and so, there's a little thriller there, and there, I mean, so there's all these different elements there. I think that would just make a great, a great movie, great series. But oh yeah, I mean, and she's got tons and tons of adventures left in her. So I mean, like I said, She just started here, and so who knows? Maybe she'll go international as well.
I love
So
it.
no,
Well, I can't wait to see it.
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
looking
yeah, yeah.
forward to reading books 1 and 2, and then I'm gonna be on the edge of my seat, like, what's she coming with next?
Exactly, exactly, Erica. I'm telling you, you're going to get, hooked on it. One of the things that I've been told is that when it's a fast ride, it's a fast ride. So
Hmm.
when you start reading it, you don't want to put it down. So that made me feel really good. I'm like, okay, great. So
Yeah.
you guys chance to see that. She's a complex character.
Yeah.
She's just someone that, like I said, she has everything. Like she's got a temper, but then she's loving and she's caring, and she just wants the best for her family and her friends. And she'll do whatever it takes to. And also, she wants to bring down the bad guys.
Well,
She, that
good.
just drives her crank. So I think that what I love about is that, some people say, is that my alter ego? It's like, wow, sometimes I wish that I could say certain things that she said, or do, or be able to really do that. But I love the fact that she's a very fearless
Yeah.
character. You
Good.
know.
Well, I'm gonna be in because I'm that type of person. Once I'm into a storyline and I'm into a character, I'm in there.
All
So
right.
when the next one's coming out, I'm waiting.
Yeah. That's why I have to make sure I take a little bit more, more of those naps, so I can I can just make sure I re-energize to be able to
Yeah.
continue
Well,
to
that's
write more.
great. Well, that goes right into our topic of tonight. So we're going to be talking about the The relationship between, I think, there was some feedback. I think Gator's back there. The relationship between creativity and mental health, and how do those things work together? How do they affect each other? And
Mm.
you being a creative person, I know you have some good insight on how that works. I hear a lot of people who are creative minded say that, like, their creative outlet is what kept their mental health stable, is what gave them that balance. And then I've heard some people say that their mental health kind of affected their creativity. They noticed that when they didn't take care of their mental health, they weren't as creative as they were before. So it
Mhm.
looks like those two things work together, and balance each other out. So can you speak to your personal experience with that?
Yeah, I mean, I think that you really nailed it. I think that as a creative, um, it helps me to. It really does calm me because I have so many ideas in my head, and and it helps to decompress and to be able to really focus on that. For the longest time, I've had to basically, it's a battle of the minds, right?
Hmm.
Being a professional businesswoman on, and then also trying to write. Like it was, it was actually years before I actually picked up my stories.
Okay.
And but because I really focused, I was I'm very um, laser focused
Hmm.
on projects that I work on. I mean, a lot of times my sister will say, "Well, wow, do you ever take a break?" And the joke is always is like, you know what, rest. Like I can, listen, I'm rest when I'm dead. And I used
Yeah.
to that, right? 'Cause I feel like, there's so many ideas, there's so many things that I want to accomplish. And I have to tell you, one of the things that really changed my approach is when, I decided that, for my 50th, I wanted to do something different with my 50th. And I
Wait a
basically
minute,
decided,
though. Wait a minute. We got to stop right there. Wait a minute. 50?
yes, and well, that was, I'm actually 52 at this point.
No way. No, 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 no. No. I cannot believe that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So, it's like, it's so funny because before I turned 50, I wanted to do something that was just grandiose, something I'd never done before. And it was
Yeah.
really being fearless. So I decided that I took a 30-day sabbatical and I traveled the world.
Okay.
So I went to Paris, I went to Morocco, I went to Barcelona, in Greece, I went to Montenegro, and I also went to Croatia. And it
Wow.
was incredibly life-changing experience for me, where it made me think, as I don't know if people listen to Steve Harvey, but he says, you got, at this point, I probably have less days ahead of me than I do behind me.
Yeah.
But in those times, I get excited about my life and I get excited about the things that really matter.
Yeah.
And you talk about having this time to decompress and to be able to experience something, because everything was just beautiful. And when you think, if anybody has any issues with believing that there is God in the world, travel to some of these places. Travel to Greece, travel to Montenegro and Croatia and Barcelona. I mean, when I tell you they're the most beautiful places, I mean, it is nothing but heaven, especially Greece, heaven on earth,
Yeah.
where I don't care if you turn to the right, you turn to the left, you see the sunset, you see the sunrise, you see the water, which is like crystal blue. I mean, it is just like this
Whew.
royal, I mean, it's just absolutely amazing. And it changed my life. So when I came back, that's when I really started to hunker down on my writing again and wanting to share with the world these
Yeah.
stories. And I think that we're all about, we're here on this earth to service people, whatever that looks like, right? So you
Yeah.
got dope discussions. You're here to service people who need to hear these stories.
Yes.
And I applaud you for taking that opportunity to do that.
Thank
So,
you. Thank you.
you know, So now, like what I'm trying to do now is to basically write as many stories as I can, if they're in my head, to be able to share them with people. And I love, like I said, it's all about emotion for me and how people are going to respond to it. Not everyone's going to like it, but they're going to talk about it. And hopefully that will help them decide on what they want to do in life. But I just feel like, life is so short.
Hmm.
You gotta live it to the fullest.
I
So, and
love
that's
that.
that's what I try to do every day. Live it to the fullest.
I love that. Absolutely love that. And it sounds like you're traveling. It just confirmed what you already knew, but you saw it for yourself. The the bigness and the greatness of God and all of the things that he created, and it's like that confirmed that he is real for you.
Absolutely.
That's
Absolutely.
amazing. That's amazing. And so once you came back from that trip, you were more focused and you were able to pour out what was inside of you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I've not stopped. And when, a lot of people think about when they were locked, like they said, when the lockdown. And I think that what was great about the lockdown was that you had a choice. You could either wallow in self pity, I don't know what to do with my life, or you basically hunker down and say, I'm going to do something for me that's going to be great. And I'm
Yeah.
going to excel at it. And I'm going to keep at it. And I'm going to keep pushing. I'm going to keep pushing. I'm going to keep pushing. And so during that time, like the last 2 years have been really just really the most incredible time of my life,
Yeah.
where I work hard. And I always say, you got to work hard, you got to play hard, and you got to rest hard. You got to do all those three. You
Yes.
know,
Finally
and so,
learning that lesson. You play hard, you rest just as hard.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So
So,
have you ever had a period in your life where your creativity was hindered or you felt like it wasn't at its optimum level because of things in your life?
oh, absolutely. I think that, one of the things has been the toughest time for me was when I was actually my second year of college,
Hmm.
where unfortunately I lost both my parents 4 months apart.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, first semester
Sorry
was
about
my
that.
father, and then my mother died of a broken heart. I always like to say my second
Yeah.
semester. And, I made a choice. So it was, either I decide to, go back home and not know what I want to do in my life, or take this opportunity and make them proud. And so I just really, focused as much as I can, because, the joke is that, I've always, I thought I was going to be a singer, right? So I was, writing songs and singing, and unfortunately that basically, that changed uh, for me. And I
Hmm.
started less singing and more writing, writing plays.
Yeah.
I've had a couple of off Broadway's plays, produced. But then I started really focused on behind the scenes,
Hmm.
and it just changed, and that actually helped me grow as a person and deal with the grief of losing your parents at such a young age. And
Yeah.
so now, I use every emotion, even in my writing. If it's sad, then I'm going to write that. If I'm happy, I'm going to write that. So that's when you make it, your characters very complex.
I love
But
that. The greatest artists, they draw from real life experiences, real emotions. And when
mhm,
that translate out, you feel it, you connect with it. That's why we get um, so connected to singers, artists who
mhm,
actually put in their songs real life things that they're going through at that time.
yeah,
And those are some of the songs that we connect with the most and that we hold on to. So yeah, I
absolutely.
definitely agree with that.
Yeah, people think a lot of times my friends are like, "What are you listening to?" I was like, "I am old school. Like my favorite, I will listen to whether it's Phyllis Hyman or
Yeah.
Anita Baker or Whitney Houston, but my favorite artist of all time, I have to say, is Sam Cooke.
Really?
Every single song he has, he's got a voice like an angel. He's just in this crooner that's amazing. And some of the songs are, just uplifting, they're fun, and some of them really like, just really get you.
Yeah.
And so, I always, and then there's just a few songs that I can literally play every single day. There's a new one that's, I think it's called Jerusalem, and it is just this incredible song. And I actually took the time to listen to the words, like pull the words up on Google, and I was like, wow, she
Wow.
gets, she's really talking about how, God he's in everything that we do
Yes.
and how we do it. So, but those are the things that really make me happy. So I know for me, I focus on things that really do make me happy. And when I
Yeah.
feel like I'm hitting a little low, it's okay. As one person would say, you have to own it. You have to own the good and you have to own the bad. And you shouldn't have to feel bad because you own the bad. You know,
Yes.
you gotta accept it. Like, you just, but you don't want to wallow in it. I own it. I'm here. I'm going to deal with it for a minute. I'm going to take a nap. I'm going to, when I get up the next day, I'm not going to allow that to ruin my next day. So
Yes.
it's really, really important when people think about how to make a change, how
Yeah.
to, how to get out of the slump. Because everybody goes through these bouts of sadness,
Yeah.
but we don't have to live there. And we shouldn't be
Yes.
living.
I think that's one of the biggest, most important messages of this time is we're starting to understand that um, all of the emotions that we feel need to be felt. There's some emotions that we feel that we try to avoid, that we
Mhm.
try to ignore, that we try to push down because we haven't been taught how to actually process them, how to actually identify them, and to just sit with it and
Yeah,
process it and then go through it. But instead, we've developed a lot of unhealthy ways to distract, to avoid, to suppress. But if you can just sit with those feelings and own them and then go through them, that creates a lot of more emotional intelligence and maturity that I'm
hmm,
starting to see coming along in the next generations, because in our generation we didn't talk about that stuff,
correct.
and we just dealt with it. We did other things to take our minds off of it, but being able to actually sit with it and talk about it. And the big thing now is therapy, therapy, therapy. It's not a
Yes,
bad word. It's not a cuss word. It doesn't mean that you're a pariah in society. It just means that you need help developing a skill that you don't have right now.
exactly. Well, it's so, one of the things that I do at BET is that, we actually launched a couple years ago short stories, like, and it's basically under our BET Her Presents.
Hmm.
And we focus on mental health. We focus on breast cancer. We focus on, how women and the black women in the, in the community, black women, how we're dealing with all of the stresses that surround us.
Hmm.
And I love this, this initiative because it really brings awareness. It brings the, how do families deal with, mental health? How do they
Hmm.
deal with this? And so I think when you talk about creativity and how mental health works, is that we're able to show these stories, have people to look at them, to say that, something they may be able to relate to, and then we can have discussions about them,
Yeah.
um, around them. And we've done everything from, right now, we've talked about schizophrenia. We talked about just, people having anxiety attacks. We're
Wow.
talking about, what happens when, you lose a loved one, what
Hmm.
happens when you're alone and dealing with the stresses of life. We've even talked about what happens when, you're losing your job and being in the pandemic and how to
Yeah.
deal with that. So we, really excited about, how this comes up, and we, have two coming in uh, July, which is our, minorities in mental health. And then we have
Okay.
2 films in October that really deal with women dealing with breast cancer, because all
Okay.
of that plays into it. But, this is year 4 for our breast cancer and year 3 for our mental health.
I
So,
love it.
yeah, so I hope everyone would tune in when it comes on.
Those will be airing on BET.
BT Her, yes, BT Her
Okay. BET
in
her.
July, October, but that's probably where we talk about, like I said, the creativity along with mental health, because it gives people an opportunity to see themselves on screen, the small screen, and then being able to deal with their own issues, and hopefully they'll address them.
Yeah. So what's some good tips that you would give to I guess people in general, who are dealing with mental health issues and are not quite, comfortable enough to do therapy? What are some things that they may be able to just do in their personal life to balance out, mental health issues, if it's something that they don't have to get medicated for?
I mean, I just think that being experienced life, like walking around outside and seeing the beauty that's there. Like, I mean, I just, or talking to people, like
Mhm.
friends,
Mhm.
about how they're feeling. They shouldn't be bottled up all of these, emotions they're having. Because I know a lot of times, it takes a while, because, people might say, I'm not crazy. I don't need this. I don't need that. And, you find that, but you may want to have someone to talk to
Yeah.
about it. Back and say when you talked about it in the old school, they're like, oh, just pray about it and just let it go. It's going to be okay. But I think that, for me, it's about, becoming comfortable and who you are, and being, and as someone has once told me, is that, you have to forgive yourself. You got
Ooh,
to get yourself off the hook of feeling a certain kind of way,
that's a
and
big
realize
one.
it's okay. And then owning it, like we said, own that feeling, and then decide what you want to do with it. And I know it seems simple, but I feel like that's a great way to start. And then once they start to read about or see themselves on the screen, or if they or start writing, a
Hmm.
lot of times I learned a long time ago that helped me was journaling. You know, getting my journal, writing down my feelings, how I'm gonna, how do I deal with this? It's everything from, and I look back on them, and sometimes I would say, nothing is going right in my life. I don't know what to do next. And then as I've gone through and started writing every day, and all of a sudden something started to change. Something
Hmm.
started to click. And I said, wow, this is great. And so the more I did that, and I've got a friend who she literally has journaled every day, probably since she was a little girl. And I have
Wow.
someone who reads books or listening to music, or, finding that special place in your sanctuary.
Yeah.
I look back, one of the other examples that I have was that, in living in New York, and I lived in one of the neighborhoods in Crown Heights, and I lived there for 10 years.
Hmm.
And I was finding myself being very upset when I would come home, because it would be the same people on the corner, and they would just, like, man, can you just do something with your life? And I find myself getting very anxious and angry. And I
Yes.
remember at the time that someone that I was dating at the time, and he said, you know what, if this is not healthy for you, if this does not make you happy, why don't you move? And it's something just clicked when he said that. I was like, I think you're right. And so I made that choice, and I changed neighborhoods. I moved to an apartment that has a beautiful view, and that changed my whole thought process and my own being. And so now when I wake up in the morning and I see the sun coming in, it just has changed my whole mood. So it's those type of things, and it's the little things that could just shift it for you. So it
Ooh.
might be writing, It might be listening to music. It might be, having, talking to friends, talking it out. And of course, more importantly, getting to a point where you feel comfortable. You may need therapy, and
Yeah.
therapy is not a bad thing.
Yes.
I didn't get therapy for my parents, their death until I was way in my 30s.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to, thought I could deal with it on my own. And, I remember the therapist saying that, you feel that you don't have a lifeline, but you
Yeah.
do. You've got people who love you, got people who care about you. And so those, they start to give you these little tools to help you, express yourself. But I think that's, to me, is the biggest thing, is that how are you going to express yourself, because you don't want to internalize it. You want to get it out,
Yes.
you know.
Yes. All of that was awesome. And as you were talking, I was thinking about, like, at the onset of the pandemic, I had a brief period where I was depressed
Mhm.
because I was working from home. I was home all day. And then when I get off work, I'm still at home. And so I
Mhm.
started to feel like this is the same cycle over and over again. I'm not seeing anything different. And what I had to do was create a routine for myself, give myself permission to, you know, this was a big thing for me is I always prided myself on multitasking,
Mhm.
but I'm at a point in my life now where I cannot do that. I have to focus on one thing at a time or I won't get anything done.
Got
And
it.
so I've given myself permission to focus on one thing at a time, and all of those other things will have to wait.
That's it.
I also get myself up in the morning, and every morning I make sure I open all windows, all blinds, and I let natural light in every day. That
Mm.
was something that I noticed was keeping my mood down, was not having that natural light, not having exposure to natural light. And then I
Mhm.
started making sure that even whatever time I get off work, I get outside at some point of the day and just breathe some fresh air or just sit in my backyard or go to the park and take a walk. Um,
Yes.
all of those things in combination just brought me out of that depressive state. And
Mm.
I think if people just do little bitty things, adjustments to just, if it just improves your mood temporarily, then you'll be able to add on to that and add on to that until your mood overall has been brought back up and balanced again. And talking to other people, having a community of people, and actually verbalizing what I was feeling in the inside, and having that, being heard and understood and then reciprocated, that was also a big thing for me, being able to talk about it, because I've never been a big talker of my own internal thoughts and feelings, and being
Mhm.
able to do that really changed everything for me. So I think if people would understand that talking things out, even if you talking out loud to yourself.
Right.
I used to think as a kid, I used to see people talking to themselves and I was like, that person's crazy. Now I'm like, I talk to myself and I know I'm not crazy. I just, some things you just have to hear out loud.
I
I
love
just want to
that.
say, ain't nothing wrong with talking to yourself. Nothing wrong at all. I made a living off of that. you know, I used to be the little boy that's sitting on the park bench, just sitting up there looking at the sky and just talking, and folks be looking at him like, "Yeah, he a little throw, he a little throw." But just you know what? That was my own therapy at the time. Sometimes it does, like you said, Eric. Sometimes it is better to just talk it out. Oh, by the way, hey everybody out there in the virtual
Hey, Gator.
population, how y'all doing? It was so good. Larissa is so good. I was just listening to it. I was like, I don't even want to say that. I'm just gonna sit here and just listen.
Oh man. Well, I always say that it was just so great, to have an opportunity to meet you, Gator. And so I was like, oh my gosh. I mean, I love meeting people, and I know that I'm one of those people that I can pretty much. I've been able to have the ability to meet and greet and talk to anyone. and it has been really just, I'm just so blessed to be able to do that. And I think part of it's growing up and being a Southern girl, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But also I think the other piece is to be able to listen, to what people say. And maybe it could be a part of me because part of my my background is that I was in sales for several years when I worked for Coca-Cola, and I remember we were taking a 6-week course on how to talk to people and but it was really more about listening to people, because a lot of
Yeah.
times I think part of the problem we get really anxious because people are not hearing us. And I would say that a couple things is that, one, you gotta, when you talk about, feeling depression or feeling, down and out, is, a lot of you gotta fake it till you make it, right?
Yeah.
You got to just, you got to
Okay.
shift it. Like, we have a choice to make. Like, do we want to stay down in this dump, or are we going to, crawl ourselves out of that? But all those things, Eric, is important. Like walking, outside, getting that fresh air,
Yeah.
getting that, they told us the whole time when we were in the lockdown, it's okay, go outside, breathe those that natural air that's coming in, and the sunlight. And I'm very fortunate because being in Brooklyn, I would walk to the pier,
Hmm.
walk every day. I mean, now it's a little, it's a little cold, but I'm visualizing walking to the pier. But I have, I'm in an area where I can, see the beauty, and I think that really does change it, to change your mood about it. But like I said, maybe it's your favorite song, maybe it's or that favorite book, or or maybe calling someone that you hadn't talked to in a long time. I mean, I do that.
Yeah.
Doing that
Right.
a
Right.
lot now, where if that person's on my mind, I go, man, or I've got a group of people on through my close knit friends on the DM, and we'll see something, and we just constantly go back and forth, and we send funny memes and
Yeah.
posts and just laugh and just joke and say this person is just out of control and insane. We just laugh about it. But it's those things that that it's whatever that is that's going to change your mood. You should definitely do that. And
Yes.
and I mean, I love it. I can, I don't sleep a lot, and people say, well, how do you focus? And I just become hyper focused. But it is, I go, and then I'm like, man, I gotta relax. So and I'll take that time
Yeah.
to sleep. Or it's okay to say no. You can't do everything.
Ooh, that's a big one. The smallest word, and it was the hardest thing for me to say, is
Yeah.
no. Just, I can't do it, or I don't want to. I
I do
just,
not want to. And did you
right.
find yourself always trying to explain, like, oh, well, I can't do it. Nope. It's like, do you want to go shopping today? No, I do
Yeah.
not.
And
Or if I do, like, yes. So I think that the two best words that we can possibly use is either no, I'm not going to do this, or yes, I'm definitely going to do that. So, but it all depends on where, how you use them. But you shouldn't have to explain why you're going to say yes or why you're going to say no. And I think that's also changed, my thought processes as well. You
yeah,
know,
no is a
it
complete sentence.
that's it. That's it.
But
What
I
is that?
love this. I am so honored and glad that you showed up for us today and that you spent this time with us. This was awesome. Before
Oh,
we get out of here, I want to, do you have anything new upcoming? Any kind of events, anything that you want to share with the viewers that you have coming up?
well, I mean, now that it's 2022, I've got a couple of book clubs coming up. So I'm always interested. Like, one of the things that you'll know about me, anyone who is in book clubs, I never turn down anyone who is interested in learning more about the books. Like I said, I'm, working on other projects, and I
Mhm.
had to get mentally prepared to work on book 3,
Okay.
because book 2 is a cliffhanger. And so I've already got people saying, "Hey, it's time to, it's time to start working on that." But I'm also a screenwriter as well, so I got some other projects that is coming down the pike. But I just, like I said, would love it if people can send me a note, let me know that you read the book, that you are interested in learning more about the character. Please go on my website, larissabates.com, and sign up for the newsletter.
Okay.
And so I definitely am keeping all the events, but it is, it's been a great ride. I mean, it has been a great ride, and just to, talk to people and how excited they are about, learning more about Bonita. It's been
Yay.
happy to know that, that I'm actually doing something worthwhile. And so,
Yes.
yeah.
So can they get access to all of that when they follow your Instagram page?
Yes, yes. And, not only do you have the Larissa Bates, but there's also author Larissa Bates on Instagram.
Okay.
There's, like I said, if you go on, larissabates.com, you'll see there's my blog that's there. There's information about the books and any upcoming events. You can find it all about that. But, if you're interested in reading the book, like I said, you go on, the best way is going on is Amazon.com,
Okay.
and you can purchase both books. And the great thing about the book is that you can not only get you can get the paperback, you can get Audible, you can get the digital, so the ebook. So, all of those are available on Amazon, Barnes and Noble, Target, Walmart. So, like I said, I always get chuckled when some people send me pictures and like, guess what? It's in Walmart. I was like, you have made it. It's in Walmart.
I saw
But
that photo today when I was looking at your page. I saw the photo of the book on the Walmart shelf. I was like, yes, maybe I don't even have to wait to go to Amazon. I can just go to Walmart and get it.
yeah, I was all excited. So now you are in Texas, right?
Louisiana.
Louisiana. That's right. That's right.
Louisiana.
Louisiana.
Yes.
Oh man, I love New Orleans. Like New Orleans is my spot. Actually love New Orleans.
Well, yeah,
So,
next time you're down, we can get together.
oh yeah, come on now, Erica. I was down there. You want to do a book club? I was definitely down there to come down there. But yeah,
Yeah.
so that if anybody's interested, like I said, that's right, larissabates.com, all the info that you possibly need. And like I said,
Awesome.
and then follow me on the Larissa Bates so that you can see doing the most.
Doing the most. Yes. Somebody in the comments said doing the most is hilarious. They said they love it. Let's see, where was that at? Let's go
Yeah, yeah.
back. Somebody, yes, she said doing the most is hilarious. She loves your posts.
All right. Yeah, they are some kind of special. They are some kind of special. But like I said, they range from everything from dancing to singing to just, funny skits.
Yeah.
Like, you name it. But, definitely, if you got any ideas or you got any posts that you want to consider, I'll put them in the queue. I have a whole queue of them. But, if I could do that,
Yes.
if I could do that for a living and all I did was to research and post those every day, that would literally be my dream come
Right.
true.
If I learned the secret sauce to become a TikTok creator and I can get paid just making TikTok videos, I quit my other
Oh,
jobs.
one of the things that, we talked about, leave you with this was that, so here I'm thinking, I'm like, oh, I do Instagram and Facebook and Twitter and I'll start TikTok. And I was like, you know what? This is where you have to decide, you have to draw the line. So I did a few TikToks, but that was just another mindset that I just didn't do it. I said, let me just focus on my Instagram and my Facebook. I can post. I know those two, they go together, and like I said, I can do my doing the most, and I can tag on, go buy the book. You
Yes.
know,
You sound just like me. It's like every time a new social media platform comes out, it's like, oh, I just learned this one.
I just learned this one. I just learned this one. And even trying to maintain my YouTube is like,
Oh my
okay,
goodness.
I'll post some things up, but for the most part, I mean, I think that you just have to choose one to maybe three platforms, and that's it. That's what you focus on.
Exactly. We're
Kept saying
Gator.
about it, Gator.
We're about to get out of here,
Hey.
Gator.
Yeah, no, I was listening. Huh?
Were you at in the Bat Cave?
Yes, I am in the
Looks
quarantine cave right now. I'm in the Bat Cave. I am quarantine cave. But yeah. I mean, I had to try to transfer over to better accommodations. I apologize. But I was listening to
Right.
everything. I was doing this for Larissa because every time I talk to Larissa, I'm in my car.
Yeah.
So I'm like, you know what? Let me try to get better surroundings for her so she won't be like, this man lives in his car.
He lives in his car. What you got to do? What you got to do, Gator?
Hey, do what you got to do.
What, you want to leave the people with something before we close out?
Man, all I got to say is go buy Larissa's books, support her. We always talk about in our community how, the right people aren't getting supported, and we pushing our attention to the trash and all that stuff out there. Hey, look, this is someone that is worthy of being supported. Y'all go out and support her in any way you can.
Yes.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much. This has been so much fun. I really do appreciate both of you.
Thank you so much.
And just to be able to, and I applaud you for having these discussions. And hope, like I said, you get it out to the world. People need to hear it. People want to hear it. And it's not just like, there's three things that we do in this world. There's, you entertain, you inform, or you educate.
Yes.
So
yes,
and we try to do a little bit of both, all three of those, and then we try to we talk about serious topics, but we also try to have some fun with it as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that makes people
right.
They get the message, but they also want to come back and hear next week's message.
Right.
Well, I will definitely be back. Like I said, I'll
come on back.
Yes. I love it. And thank you so much for inviting me out. And like I said, I'm going to share the love, and I'm going to make sure that people know.
So next week we have Miss Ursula B. She's a mental health and wellness advocate, and we're going to be talking about the 10 signs of being a people pleaser.
Ooh,
and how to get out of that people pleasing spirit.
Well, hopefully she'll talk about the power of no.
Yes, the power of no is going to be in there.
Yep.
Yes. Well, thank you, everybody. Yeah, thank everybody in the comments. Y'all were awesome. Y'all really made our day. Y'all added to the conversation. We appreciate y'all so much. And y'all come back and see us again next Sunday. Same time, same place.
Peace.
All right. Peace.